I'm calling Warner Brothers, please. Can you put me through to DC? Yeah, thank you. I'm on it, don't worry.
We're all gonna die.
I hope so.
Oh, for God's sake.
It's its own thing, you know? It's not a sequel, prequel, or a reboot, really, because there's some characters crossover, you know, that people met in Suicide Squad, the one directed by David Ayer. And then there's a whole ensemble of new characters, you know. Dave, for example, plays Polka-Dot Man. A lot of obscure characters that people may not have heard of, but I feel like that's kind of a James Gunn signature move to take these. You know, I think he likes to give people something they didn't know they wanted until they got it and they realized, hey, I really like this. I think the main difference is also the rating. I mean, this is an R-rated film and the humor is really pushing the boundaries. The violence is like, you know, like there's sharks ripping people in half. And, but it's the kind of violence that's very like sensationalized and fantastical. And so it kind of fits with the world. And it's also, you know, it's still fun. It's very, very fun. But yeah, I'd say it's its own thing. It's kind of like the comic books. When you pick them up, depending on who the author is, the look might be different, the tone might be different. It's kind of like that.
David, I know you're a huge nerd. I know. Did you know much about Polka-Dot Man though? Because for me, like completely obscure.
Why you gotta call me out on that, Ash? Yeah, I'm losing all my...
I literally have done an interview with you where you're like, I'm in nerd nirvana with all my projects. So I feel like I'm allowed to say it.
I am in Nerdvana right now. I'm in Actorvana. I'm in all the Vanas. But I will say, when James sent me this text out of the blue, I was in Scotland and I got a text from James Gunn that said, I want you to be part of the Suicide Squad. And then we got on the phone and he started telling me about Polka-Dot Man and he knows what a nerd I am. And I was like, I got nothing. He's like, perfect. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. You're going to be perfect for Abner. And, yeah, it was, and now I know everything. About Abner. Everything.
Well, Margot, every time you play Harley, you're kind of thrown into a completely different environment, almost like different worlds. What excited you most about this iteration of Harley that we see in the Suicide Squad?
I was excited that she's kind of, you know, she's definitely independent from Mr. J for the first time, even though in Birds of Prey they'd broken up at the start, she was still very much not okay with not being with him. And in this one, he's kind of like, you know, she's not even thinking about him, which is really fun and just a new, interesting mindset and place for Harley to be in her life. So she is looking for new love and she's looking in all the wrong places.
I love Boy Crazy Harley Quinn. I'm like very curious what her dating profile looks like.
Me too, because they're always my favorite comics too, when she's like going on dates and like messing it up. Or it's a police officer or whatever. Like those are always my favorite comics. I love, Harley, single Harley trying to date.
She's a badass. She doesn't need nobody.
She doesn't, but
she also loves guys and sometimes girls.
Sure. My 4-year-old is obsessed with Harley Quinn, and we had a Harley Quinn birthday party back in June, for a penny. So yeah, I'm glad.
So cute. Those pictures are so good.
I love that. Margot, since you do kind of get to mix it up with so many different characters in this world, have you seen that In the Heights' Leslie Grace is going to be Batgirl? And do you feel like you two could team? Yes, she's going to be
how cool. That's wicked. She's amazing.
So I would like to see it. I feel like it makes sense for you two to do something together.
Yeah, I'm calling Warner Brothers, please. Can you put me through to DC? Yeah, thank you. I'm on it. Don't worry. I'll sort this.
Well, because I saw a headline recently that you maybe wanted to take a break from Harley. I don't know how embellished that was. What does that next chapter look like? Are you going to take a little break from Harley?
No, I've had enough of the break. I'm ready to do her again. This is, I did Birds of Prey and the Suicide Squad back to back. So it was a lot of Harley all in 1 year period. But that was a while ago now. I'm always ready for more Harley. I love her.
Love her. Never stop.
The sitcom, like Harley.com. I don't know. There's so many stories to tell.
Honestly, like a TV show, I would love that. Anyway, just pitching ideas. David, quickly, Polka-Dot Man's powers, very vicious, a little bit. Yeah. Probably the roughest ones. Tell me.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a fascinating thing with the character, with Abner, to think about a guy who has this incredible ability. I mean, he's really, truly, I think, one of the coolest powers on the team. But it doesn't mean anything when you're in such a dark place, and when you've spent your life feeling like a failure, and when you've suffered so much. And it's really interesting for me thinking about that kind of, that pain and that misery that Abner has been living with his whole life up until this point, and why he wouldn't have used these abilities for anything other than trying to get revenge on this cruel world, And then all of a sudden we enter this story, and for the first time, people are treating him like he is, for the most part of the gang. I mean, Peacemaker's kind of a D-bag, but everybody else is pretty cool. Even Harley,
I saved your life at one part, remember?
Oh, I cherish that moment forever.
Yeah.
Forever.
They're bonded after that.
I'm a superhero!